do work out
Yeah,
good.
see, you can see it.
Yeah, can you guys link it for me?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let me post it here.
And we're live.
I'll post it in the chat
Thank
too.
you.
There you go, Tim.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. But yeah, so for some reason the window that I'm looking at right now isn't updating, so it's not. I can't log into Mute, but whatever. Anyway.
So the cursor is blinking on
Yeah, it's blinking.
the
I'm
cursor's
not
blinking.
sure
Oh, I see.
how to make it do anything though.
Oh.
Anyway, we can.
Okay, I'm trying. Hold on. Give me one
Yeah,
second. I'm
go
trying
for it.
to post. Here we are. Okay, reply. What's a funny thing I can say? We are live. Come soak up the epic skills of the legendary Tim. There we go. All right, let's do it. Are we recording?
Yep, we are good to go, man. All right, so
Okay.
back to the new podcast, episode 5. Mike, you got anything for us this start?
I don't know. I was so creatively drained after last week. I don't know. What can I do?
Oh, that's the wrong.
Actually, okay. You know what? I'm gonna do an intro for our illustrious guest. How about that?
Do it.
Ooh, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right. Okay. If the American MUME community was a high school, and let's face it, it kind of is a high school. Our guest today would be the starting quarterback of the football team, and he's taken us to state finals this year. It's Tim.
Amen to that. I like that. That's a good start.
Yo, what's up, guys? I like it.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anybody who's played in American Hours during the past 10 years knows Tim has benefited from his largesse and generosity and good cheer and enthusiasm. And probably anybody who's PK'd in American Hours in the past 10 years has probably died at Tim's hands and maybe got lucky on a kill when he was in suicide. There you have it. Tim, give us an intro. Give us an intro mode. Give us an
Absolutely.
intro. Tell us about you.
Sure. So my name's Tim. I play Caureondil most notably. Also Baratheon and Squeegee. I have some really strange character names, but I think I have like 30 legends at this point. It's kind of bad. But yeah, I found Mume back when the movies came out, like most people I think. And I found it from a friend. My friend's like, "Hey, I'm playing this role playing game." And I was like, "Oh, you effing nerd." Oh my god. Because you have to remember, at this time, I'm like fully competitive. I'm playing football. I'm playing baseball. When I'm gaming, I'm playing Counter Strike. I'm playing StarCraft. I'm playing to win. And I'm like, what are you playing? You're wearing a robe? Is that what you put on a robe? Nice, good one.
You're putting on leather, a silk cap. Yeah.
But yeah, I started to play it. I fell in love with the movies. I became a super nerd, and wandering around Arda was just such a pleasure for me, and I just loved it so much. Getting into fights with elk and losing and mob ripping. Awful, right? That was like my first mob death. I remember I'm like, "Elk, I'm gonna kill you now forever and ever."
Yeah.
It's funny how the mobs that really give you a bad mob rip, they like haunt you forever, and you have like a special beef with that mob for decades.
Oh,
after
100%.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any of those?
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
the worms
Wild
and
boar.
Moria are
Wild
haunting me.
boar, dude.
Yeah.
Those things there. Like I still can't like if I pass one when I'm spamming somewhere, I will take time out of my spam just to go kill it, you know?
Yeah. I ate a mob my first hero ate a mob to the Crazed Dwarf by Blue Mountains in like 1998. And to this day, I still like, there's like a special tension in the air when I'm
PTSD.
fighting a Crazed
You
Dwarf.
wake up in the middle of the
can still
night,
feel
just
it. Yeah.
the crazed dwarf.
Cold sweat. Yep. So yeah, I'll just continue a little bit more. I stopped playing when I went to college, and I really fell out of the loop for a while, and I came back afterwards and got really into PK. And sadly, I guess the best PK times were over, as they say. But I had a lot of fun learning how to PK. I loved reading logs. I loved posting my own logs. I love seeing how people got a creative advantage in a fight and trying to apply it to my play style. I just found that so fun. Like, I don't know where you guys stand on logs, but that was a big reason why I kept playing the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, I've had some of the best fights logged on there. I love going back and reading them and like recapturing that moment, that nostalgic moment of just chaos. But yeah, that's why I play the game. I play to fight mostly. Like I love the fighting style of the game, and I love the creativity that the game allows you.
Yeah, completely agree. Before we go deeper into a couple of those things, which we certainly are, let's go off with a couple of more introductions with Nick and Mike.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, well, for anyone who hasn't heard the previous ones, I'm Nick. I play Dent, and me and Tim go way back. I think, we tried to two-man just about everything we could on the game, kind of like Peter and Mike
100%.
have done the same thing. Yeah. So
Well, you guys also
I'm really excited to have Tim on
you
here.
guys also have a kind of a special connection because you guys were both gunning for 100 about the same time, and you guys were in a little bit of a race there for a while, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were kind of bouncing off each other, like the energy, keeping the motivation up
We were
to
using
get
each other like
yeah.
psychologically and for XP. Like, hey, I need you to XP with me, but I more need you to just be here for this next
Keep me
hour. That's
sane.
gonna suck, but we're gonna do it together.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier when you have a friend to shoot for 100 with,
It was like a second job there for a while, and I know for you it was more of a marathon. For me, it was very much a sprint. I went as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's actually one thing we're going to talk about. I think Tim, you might be one of your claim to fames on MUME might be like the highest XP per hour player. You know what I'm saying? Like you have that you have a special knack for leveling characters.
There are some people that are much better than me, but yeah, I love efficiency, man. It's all about efficiency. Let's go.
Yeah, your stab brown bears technique.
Yeah, if it takes me 9 seconds to kill something, but it's worth 1,000 XP, that adds up over time.
It's true. It's true. So get that 1 second 1K XP on 99% bears. Do it.
I'm pretty sure anybody that's got very, very high level on a puke and like actually went for it spent a lot of time in Fangorn because it's just room after room of 1K XP.
Well, and Tim taught me the value of that you don't always have to be max align all the time. You can shoot down to neutral or below, and then just work your way back up.
It becomes motivation to keep playing. Like, you know what? I'll just get my align back, then I'll stop.
It's super true. I did that with Slayah as well. Kind of inspired by you guys' going down to neutral. I went way past neutral, but yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, Caureondil went down some dark roads. There's like some elven flower garden west of Lorien, and I killed the keeper of that. That was bad.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, we gotta finish up the introductions though. So Mike.
Real quick, Mike, I play a lot of combos. Taryn, notably. I have PK'd some recently as Marilder. And then recently, Peter and I have been making small videos with my dwarf Moral, which we've been enjoying. And we just posted Frikra a couple days ago, which was really fun. Check it out.
Yeah, that video was super fun, especially since we actually filmed it 3 times. The first 2 were disasters. Like the first time we get ready, like we kind of get some equipment on our characters. We're like, all right, let's go do it. We go there, and then we're halfway through, and we realize we don't have Remp, so we're doing Frikra and like sleeping through the Arachnia, and we're like, there's no way,
oh my God,
way we can post this shit show. What happened the second time? I forgot what happened, but oh yeah, we got stuck in cocoons and we didn't know how to. For some reason, we thought we had the wrong weapons, so we were like, we had to go back outside. It was bad. Anyway, that's a tangent, but yeah, those was a super fun video to make.
It sounds like MUME. Sounds like a MUME
Yeah,
video
exactly.
right there.
Like you have like, this will go. I've done it a million times. It'll go super smooth. We'll just do it, and then it's just everything goes to shit. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm Slayah, and Durin and Vi. I don't know, a couple other characters. And that's pretty much it. So before we get into some more of the discussion, kind of shout out to the what's going on in MUME right now. So we got Glaron, the Dwarf Warrior. He's number 1 in the Puke Warlords. And we've got Lone Wolf, the Black Numenorian. And he is the number 1 in the Sauron's army, I guess. On the newbie front, we actually had a whole bunch of newbies on recently. Again, big shout out to player Zoe, who's player HUD. I hope that wasn't incog, but it's like a level 5 character. But he's been helping them out a ton, so huge shout out to him. And I think that's pretty much. Have you guys seen anything else notable in the news recently, like in game?
I've been playing a little bit, and I met a new player this
Oh,
weekend.
nice. Was he having a good time?
I thought that was very cool. I met a new player. I asked them how they were doing it. They said they found the game very challenging, but they were really having fun, and they appreciated when people would reach out and help them. And I was like, hey, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Great. Yeah, they all seem like they're like have really good attitudes for the most part. Obviously, you have those people that just disconnect in Mandos, and you can't help that. But I've been actually very impressed with how excited most of them seem. Anyway, so that's great. I'm glad that we're getting make some headway there. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys want to like just get into some questions here? You kind of want to just like shoot the shit for a little bit.
Let's hear. So Tim, you said one of your nerd ass friends got you into the game, and then you became a nerd. But here's my favorite question about them. What was your first like magic moment? Like, what was the experience where it went from like, okay, this is one of another one. This is one of the 100 most recent 100 video games I played. Like just another, just like dime a dozen knocking them down games. Versus what was like the specific thing where you just kind of went like, whoa, and kind of elevated you a little bit in the game? Because everybody I've talked to has like kind of like that special moment or those special moments. Like what were yours?
All right, so I have a couple, and they're very, very new player and stupid. But the first time I saw a fortune of gold in a corpse that was life changing for me. I was like, wait, there's that much money in the game? Like one person can have that much? Like what? And then you guys are not going to be surprised by this. Backstab. I saw someone backstab, and I was like, no shot. You can one shot people? Like this is I was like, how does anybody play anything besides this? This is the greatest thing in the world. And to that effect, my first PK, I was playing Lethalace, who was an elf scout, and I came across a troll in a corner on ABR. His name was Sta, and he was AFK. And I proceeded to stab him about 9 times, and I went awful. And then I won. I finally won the AFK fight. I ended on awful. I posted the log. I was so proud. And everyone's like, yeah, he wasn't there, man. I was like, oh. I had a lot of fun, though. Adrenaline rushed like crazy.
Just shaking.
There we go.
No, that's great.
Absolutely shaking. And then I copied the log line by line and just posted it, so it's just like this one block.
Oh,
That's good.
So
But yeah, that's fighting has always been it for me. It's like you're one-on-one against somebody, even if you're not the stronger character, how do I win the fight? And I just love that aspect of the game. It's like, do you introduce a mob? Do you have to get another player involved? Do you go to a place that's, you're a better suited to fight there? And like the BN crossbow meta is a perfect example of that. Leading people into places with aggressive mobs and using your crossbow and just destroying them. I love that.
What were the like aha moments, the light bulb moments in terms of PK? Because this is like, there's so many people, and honestly, like I'm probably closer to this category myself, where you just grind the shit out of it, you explore whatever, and then PK is like, it's like kind of this scary thing off on the horizon, and maybe you stumble into it, or maybe it comes after you. But it's like there's people who played the game 20 years and never really started climbing kind of the ladder or climbing the mountain in PK. So what, for someone like you, Tim, who got really good at it, what were the moments where you're like, oh, okay, I understand something now, or oh, okay, I see something I didn't see before? Like what were the light bulbs that really kind of got you got you going on PK?
So I'll go back to Elven Runes and the other log posting sites helped me a lot. I think of like Ridar and Hezel, those Zoggers logs, and just learning how to teamwork, learning how to use Arachnia, learning that
Yeah.
doors and locks are the most important thing in the game. Like if you have someone behind a locked door, even if they're with three other people, they're gonna die, and then you just let in the next guy, he's gonna die too. So learning like to use your surroundings, um, definitely log reading though. Like if you go to the top log posters on Elven Runes, that was it for me. It's like who's in the top five? I'm gonna click on them. I'm gonna read through their logs, especially
Yeah.
logs that have characters that I like Malice or these Zoggers thieves. Like those are like my guys, right? Um, Breux or Jacob, whatever his character is called, and Gelmir as well. I loved reading their logs and just,
Yeah.
oh, I can use this. I can use a Charmy in this spot to bash a guy, and then I can use Block Door, and then he's screwed. You know, like I have to figure out a way to get an advantage because my character is not always the strongest.
Right. So okay, here's something. What when you and I play together, something I have kind of noticed about your play style, and I've noticed this about a few other people who are very good at PK, is I don't have a good name for it. It's like melee timing. It's like being
the heartbeat of MUME. I call
it
the heartbeat of MUME.
Yeah, I just like knowing like having a second sense about hit flee, having a second sense about bash timing, like really just really like down to the millisecond, down to the 5 millisecond increment of knowing hit or not, flee or not, is this going to be an approach or will this hit land? Like just being super in tune. I have like that is the like that I see that like in your play style and other really good PKers. And I'm like that to me that's a clear sort of like a clear like upper tier upper strata type thing. Do you agree or what do you think?
No, I totally agree. And a big thing for me, especially being an American player, the timing is really important. Anything that I can pre-type will help me against people with faster links than me. So I'm always trying to pre-type, and I'm always in my head the heartbeat of MUME. I know how long my smite takes because I've smited something a million times. And a lot of this is from Baratheon. When they gave us a full reroll on a character, Baratheon was a level 50 warrior for Balrog. It was my crowning achievement. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to PK. I re-rolled him into a war mage, and I died for like the next 2 months. I just died to everybody. I was awful. And then I slowly started to get victories, and then 50-50 after a while. And then I was like, okay, I'm really good at this character now. I can take on almost anybody, and I feel confident. And it took a lot of dying. You just have to be okay with dying. That's it. And if people left my AQ, it helped so much. It was so nice of them, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I remember. I think I remember when you did that, and he was like a bashing Quake.
Yep, bashing and quaking and shield and staff swapping, which people still to this day argue about, but I think that's broken.
And that was your
Wait, broken in which way? Like too powerful or too cumbersome?
Being able, if you have your timing right, to switch between a staff and a shield, and so I can bash someone and be a pure warrior with like a nice shield, and then a split second later, I have really fast stored quakes. Like it's so powerful. I think it's incredibly powerful. And I don't waste any mana because it's a staff. So I still have like 2 rearmors after I quake you. It's like you're so dead.
Yeah.
super pain in the butt to pull off though. Like, I imagine the down times between fights when you're just sitting there storing quakes and getting equipment together is a pain in the butt.
It's awful. And nowadays, if there's nobody to fight, it's like I just wasted so much time, and I failed 10 stores, and now I can't even fight anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
There was a
Were you just being a total fight slut in that 2 month baptism by fire? Were you just like jumping in anything, or did you like consciously focus on certain things, or what?
So I learned that Hunter around Nock was very active, and I was like, I'm gonna make this my home. I live here now. I'm gonna take the North Room. Hunter, you can keep in the middle. That's cool. Try not to get quaked by me, because if you lower my alignment, it sucks. But that's cool. And I would just lure people there, and just if there were 2 of them, I would try to fight 2. If it was 1-on-1, great. If it was a person with 2 Charmies, great. I'll try to find a strategy to kill the Charmies. Because if you kill someone's Charmies, they're dead. They're useless.
Right.
Just kill the Charmies, black handle the Charmies. Find a creative way to get into the fight, and you can dominate. You can and if they expect a cakewalk, it's even better for you. It's even better.
Mm-hmm. Mike, how did you get
I
into?
remember your hoard of black candles. So.
Oh, I hoard black candles. Hoard them.
Mike, how did you get into PK? I don't remember when you first started.
Me, I've just always been like PK adjacent. Like if there's a fight to jump in, you just bounce around,
Hmm.
whatever. But one thing, actually, I tell you one thing, a theory I have on this is that if you make like a, everybody, it's like you make your Max Mentals guy with like, and then you just charm and you're rolling around with a big army of charmies, right? That's what everybody kind of does at some point. I actually think going that route ultimately long term gives you a serious disadvantage in PK because it disengages you from the melee. And like you sort of like the actual fighting is like the actual, hitting or whatever is something is you kind of abstract it away. You're like, okay, I'm gonna let my charmies fight and I'm gonna be here thinking about spells or whatever, trying to kind of like do a little macro like orchestration type thing, but it disconnects you from like really delicate timing and knowing like my hit's gonna land, my bash is gonna land, I'm gonna outbash this guy bashes fast, and so you end up playing. It's like you're playing you're playing like Final Fantasy or some turn-based thing where you're orchestrating. Whereas all the PKers who I've seen who are very good and who are I'm kind of like I want to be more like that. Whenever I look at their history or kind of ask them about their history, there's always a period of time where they spent just like months or years playing melee characters like warriors, war scouts, thieves. They just got really, 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 really good about just like really like what Tim's calling the heartbeat, just like knowing millisecond this, millisecond that. I got to get out of there. I got to go in. Like I'm gonna eat a bash or hit flee, right? Like that. I don't think there's a path to being like even just like mid tier at PK without just taking your knocks, like just like straight up getting wrecked in melee for months and months. I think that to me is like the key kind of developmental thing.
Absolutely. And any chance you get a shot to fight someone who's better than you, stop worrying about the fact that you're gonna die because you probably are. But try to figure out like why, how did they beat you, right? Like what did they do? What are they better at than you, and adjust on it. Like I remember one time I was fighting Jacob. I feel weird calling him by his first name, but is it Breux, whatever?
I
Yeah.
think it's
I thought it was
bro,
Brew.
bro, right?
Bro? Oh, I can
Yeah,
see that.
Streamer
Yeah,
says
like fight.
bro.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. So, bro, I was fighting him, and just his timings were just so much better than mine, and like
right.
if you just beat me over and over, and but I learned a lot fighting him, and I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I was just typing the name in the chat. Yeah, no, I'm all right. So I'm very much on Tim's side of things, where you need like you need a moment where you have to pick a character and just be like, this character is gonna die. I'm gonna go into a fight and I'm gonna die. You know, make that decision kind of beforehand, because most of the time when before I started PKing, like, and I feel like everyone's had this experience. Once you're if you care about the character too much and it goes like below wounded, you just start panicking, and that's exactly when the fight becomes winnable. It's very rare that a fight is going to be won and only one person went below wounded. Um,
I could not agree with you more on that because if you have already told yourself that you're gonna die, you have nothing to lose, and you play
mhm.
free, and you play you're down bad to hurt. You're like a warrior against an elf mage, and you're down bad to like low fine, but then the armor drops, and then you see an opening, and you're like, holy crap, I could maybe win this fight, and it's exhilarating. It's fun.
And have you guys ever seen those logs, where it was like it'd be like an orc versus like a puke caster or whatever, and the caster would land a couple quakes or whatever, and the orc would go down to either, and the caster would be fine, and I'd
Yeah,
be like, well, the orc's just dead, but the caster was always out
right,
of mana, and then he would just like shoot him down and win, and it always just blew my mind. I'm like, how is that possible? Um,
right.
and
Yeah,
I've been on
yeah,
both sides. Yeah.
Tim is good at that. Tim's logs are good at that, and then Sindane,
mhm.
Sindane has a lot of those logs where you're like, okay, he's low. This game's over, and then he ends up winning. But Tim, is that your log? Is that your log? I think in Eblees or whatever, where it's like you versus two, and I think you go bad or awful, but you still end up winning. It's like you're on Oric and you're fighting two. I think is that your log?
Yeah, I do have a login East Priest where it's me against two Zogs, and then I have a couple of those, a couple good ones, but I'm not sure about this one specifically. In Eblis, I think that was like a Zog 2-on-2 versus Trolls. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Maybe. Okay, yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah. But I think it's like I just remember you saying Zoggers, Zog prevail or something like
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Something.
So yeah,
Yeah.
everyone ends up going awful, but the
Right.
two Trolls die and the Zoggers win, just as it
Right,
should
right,
be.
right, right. But whatever that like an extra dimension of the game where you're like, okay, I'm low wounded and my opponent's high hurt, but I'm in control. Like I do not have that.
If you go
I
back,
don't
if
know
you go back,
I don't know what type of developmental thing I need to do to figure that out. But I
if
do
you go
not have
back,
that
go
with
back and read that, Mike. Go back and read it and look at me. I'm like, rescue me, please, protect, please, stand it, someone help, oh, please. I'm just chaos. I'm mistyping. It's chaos. I do not. There's nothing. I'm not being calm there at all. I'm just freaking out. But that's the fun, right?
Typo and everything. Yeah.
But yeah, those I would say though those are my favorite times are playing Zoggers with Ragnar, who was a European player, or with my buddy Christian, who's Swedish. He would play Jarv. Those were the by far the best times that I've had with playing this game. Everything's against you, odds stacked against you, and finding a way to win. So fun.
Absolutely.
But you need to have someone to play with, for sure.
Um, um, I was going to say something and now I forgot. What was it? Oh,
Yo, Dent. Well, all right, go
no,
ahead,
no, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask him while we were filling time. How did you like Zoggers when you tried it out?
I enjoyed it when you and I uh were kind of trying to two-man all these things, like learning a different dynamic to the game, because it's definitely that side where everything is against you. So in many ways, it's kind of cool because it's you never have to. Everything's an enemy, and you know where you stand. Like. But I love some of the mechanics on that side. I I remember them introducing the the barbed arrows, and thinking like I almost sort of wanted a Zork scout just to sort of play with them.
I
See if
love those. Those are so fun, and they add. It's like an Easter egg element to the game. Like, what am I gonna do? I'll just go to Austin Ed Hill. I'll find some arrowheads. Maybe I'll find some tracks. But it gives me something to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's a question. Since your I guess your modus operandi, your signature play style is thief. I would consider you like one of the quintessential thief players in the game. Because you've got a couple of them. Caureondil obviously was one, but you had another one before him. Who I remember you were like talking about like killing Lord or whatever solo, and that was the first time I had ever considered that as a possibility. But you've been around thieves quite a bit. Um, why is it that you chose to play Puke and level up a white side thief as opposed to going the Zog route?
So I do. I should say this ahead of time. I think I have 6 legend Zoggers, and 2 of them are thieves.
Mm.
So I do have them, and one of them's pretty high level. He's like in the high 40s. But I did decide to use Puke because I wanted to make a run at 100. It was a conscious choice that I was gonna make a run at 100. I thought Thief was my best chance. I'm really good at it. I comboed it into some warrior, so I had Bash, which I'm very comfortable with. Bash shoot, I think, is very powerful. Sneak shoot, I think, is one of the most powerful things in the game. Not enough people use it, and I just thought like I will be able to take a character, and if I need to lead a group, I'll wear medals. I'll just put medals on them. I'll lead the group for the day, and if there's nobody on, I can play solo and I can keep my grind up. And yeah, it was really achievement based for
Mm.
sure.
Well, I've never seen someone before that use like a full metal set on a thief before as like their main set. That was really interesting.
That's your fault. That's your fault. You know that, right?
Oh, is it? How's that?
Yeah, I was making this character. I got to like level 28, and I was having kind of fun. I was like, this high will thing's interesting, but whatever. I don't know if I'll keep playing it or not. And then you were like, hey, I'm going to boot camp. Take my shining medals.
Oh.
I was like, what? Oh. Like, oh, okay, cool. I'll wear these, and I was like, why not? I'll just put on the full set and see how it goes. Everyone says this doesn't work. I'll just try it and see if it works, and it works phenomenally. Moves are a problem, but you're a puke, so you just mix travs
You're
or
fine.
there's so many workarounds, and just not taking damage and using healing and walking on a thief. Like I was everything's constantly regenning, and then I'm an elf, so my mana regen's already amazing. So it's just constant regen, constant efficiency, constant grinding, and I love that part of the game. I love grinding.
Mm. Yeah.
What's your favorite grind zone currently? Or what was the most recent sort of like favorite zone to grind?
So
Did you grind DG much, or maybe was Caureondil already 100 before DG?
No, you weren't
I can't
100
think of
yet.
the
he was
timing.
already 100. He was,
Oh.
yeah. But I mean, for like the city part of DG, he was already 100. But the zone before that, with like the dark green skinned trolls,
Right.
that came in when I was like level 80, and I just farmed Sting, and I could one shot those things. So it was just like one shotting for 15k when I'm used to doing like 1k per mob.
Jesus.
I was like, oh my god, I got up to like 850k per hour, 900k
Oh
per
my
hour,
God.
just
At level 80?
ransacking that zone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
zone
because it
was
was like
amazing.
it was all new mobs, and I was super
Oh my
powerful.
gosh. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Sting is disgusting.
I think I got close to 2 levels on Dent in the 90s just from that zone alone before I filled up my trophy there.
Yeah, we went there like every day for a while because it was just too good, like too good to not go. Which is what DG should be now, right? You'd think there'd be a lot more pukes and a lot more fighting around there, but I haven't seen that personally. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I mean,
There just aren't many. Something happened like back in like January, Feb, March, like earlier this year, the player base just dropped off. Like I know everybody's always saying the game is dead. I know that's like, but something happened like this year. It went from like, okay, maybe there'd be like 6 legends on American Knights and like 3 or 4 legend Dark Side to like 2 and 1. Like there was a significant kind of like drop off recently.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I just still like even when there's players on, I just don't see a lot of action there, like or as much as I would expect.
I think it's a little harder to get kills there. There's a lot of reasons to go there, so I've seen quite a bit of action, but not a lot of finishing action occurring over there.
Right. That's what I'm referring to too. I want to see. I like
Hmm.
death. Give me death.
That's nice. I like death. I like death a lot. I'm still salty.
You have chosen.
I'm still salty. Actually, one of my actually literally probably I think the first time I met Tim was on his orc variant, um, and this is a long time
That was
ago. And we met in the Undeads near Rivendell, and we had a fight, and we both almost died in it, and neither one of us died, and which is just a shame because like we were both gunning for it at the time. And like to this day, I'm still salty that no one died in that fight.
I am still mad at those guys for breaking us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, to this day. I'm like, why did you open the
I,
door? What are you
I will never
doing?
know who actually was winning that fight. Uh,
I think you had it, but these one of my favorite people I've ever fought. I love that character. The fact that you had the most outrageous score lines on him. It was something like 300 HPs and like 150 mana or like something stupid.
yeah.
But me and him and Variant went at it multiple
Hmm.
times throughout like the next couple months. That was like a
Well,
rivalry for me. That was
now it
fun.
was a rivalry, and that was kind of going back to the previous point about like characters that you need to just like, all right, this is your PK character. We just kill it to learn it. That was right when I was starting to learn like actually seriously like, all right, I'm gonna
Yeah, that was
PK.
V for sure.
So that was in that time period, and Vi was my character, and there was a couple great rivalries there, but it was kicked off by Variant. So that'll always have a special place in my heart. That orc right there.
100%. And when you put music to some of our fights
Oh yeah.
on YouTube before, and I watched those with a giant grin on my face, just like totally vibe nerding out like this is
Yeah.
sick.
Nothing says MUME fight like trashy early 2000s EDM. So
100%, 100%.
yeah.
Tim, who are the really really good
Yeah.
PKs? Like who are the people where like even now after all these years you're like I don't know how they're so good. I don't know how who is still up there, for you?
there are so many great PKers, and a lot of them I didn't get to fight against, so that's a little difficult. But for me, Gelmir and Bro for me were always people that I looked up to when I was fighting against them, and they helped me a lot. They would answer my questions too. So I would say those two. Enforcer, who he plays a bunch of people, but
Yeah.
him, Kazduel, I didn't get to fight very much, or Faint, I didn't get to fight very much, but they're both dominant players. But yeah, I mean, you guys know the people that come on, they call like the Russians, or the Norwegians, the guys that log on and they just take over the game and the game's
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah,
Those
for
are
a
the really
weekend
good
or something.
players.
Yeah.
Whenever they want to, they can just come on. And they own the game for as long as they want to. Like those are the really good PKers.
There was a
What do you think? Like, what is it that makes those guys? I'm sure it's like different things, different players, but what is it? What makes them a notch above? Like, what is it? Is it?
I'll tell you right now. It's they play with the same people, most of them, and they'll come back as a group, and they'll come back hungry, and they're having fun playing the game, and they don't overstay usually, right?
Right.
They come in for a week or two and then they
Yeah.
go. So I think the communication, they probably have voice comms. I don't know for sure. But knowing what your partner's going to do, like this is the big thing with Zoggers, right? You don't have a lot of gimmicks. So a lot of it was, I know how Ragnar or Jarv are going to play, and I know how to work around them, and I know when they need my help, and they know when I need them too. So like it just like experience playing with the same people helps a lot.
mm, mhm. They were on maybe a year ago or so, the Norwegians. There was a fight in um, there's like a tower southwest of Brawl, not the ABR tower, but like a little, I forget what it is, like a barn house or whatever. And it was like three of them
Yep.
versus like five or six darkies. I was one of them, and I remember we portaled in on them, and we're just like, we got this, and we all died. We're like, what happened?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's like a barn. It's like got the bats up, right?
Yeah,
It's like a
exactly. And
two-roomer or
it
Got a
wasn't
three-roomer
even like
with the
take a bit of
door.
a glowing
it
spirit.
wasn't
Yeah.
a sank
Yeah.
quake situation either. Like I think they landed like two or three quakes, but most of it was just like single target that you just had amazing targeting, hitting people down. They did an
Yeah.
insane job of, and this is something that I've noticed like the really good mage players do. Um, they know how to interrupt spells so well. Like they'll just throw out.
Yeah.
They don't
That's
use
it.
burning
Yeah.
hands. They use magic missile. They'll just throw out a missile and just like, and you're like, well, okay, I guess my lightning
Right.
bolt's over. And while they're just beating on you.
I used
Yeah.
to
I
be a
don't.
magic missile believer until it bounced off someone's armor and didn't work, and then I was like, I'm never using it again.
That's a thing.
Oh yeah, if you magic missile a high mage, it's just gonna
I
not
didn't
work.
know
It's not
that.
gonna go through their armor.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it
Wait.
sucks.
Does it still
Yeah,
interrupt their
maybe.
spell? It still
Nope.
interrupts them, right?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
It's
I'll have to move to
awful.
Smother.
I
I'm
didn't
curious
know.
what that message looks like
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something like
on their end.
your missile fails. It's something like that. And if I'm talking out of my ass here, maybe I am, but I swear this happened.
I believe you. I believe you. Interesting. So there's yeah those because I think one there was a time it was one of those really good elite crews, um and they were using, and what always kind of blows my mind is when they have like entire like meta tactics that I've just never seen before, like 25 years, and they're doing something that
Like what?
I've never seen before. So what they do is they got the necro key, and then it's like, so the necro room, you go one east to loot, and then there's the exit down from there. I can't remember what it's called, but the exit down
Yeah.
from the necro loot room, right? Well, you
It's
can
like Grid or Grid or something.
grid, yeah. So what they were doing is they had the key, they were keeping that door, they were leaving that door open, and then they were then retreating back up into there. So like basically they'd open that door, they'd leave, they go out, they fight some, they get their ass kicked, they retreat, they go up into that room, which it had never occurred to me to go up into that room, and then close and lock it. So it's basically a safe room. I think like Neko had repopped or something. So they have right there in the middle of that SD zone. There's like a safe room right there that I'd never seen or never really encountered. And so I was totally redshirting and following some players, and someone said, let's go get the necro key. When they were fighting elsewhere, went and got the necro key. So we had the key. They didn't know this. we managed to kill one of them in there. But I just, man, the speed and the door speed, door open, flee speed, and then folks who were outside opening. There's just like an entire different level of just kind of just like meta
There's like a
awareness. Like
clarity they
where are
have.
you? Yeah. Where are you? Where is the door? What's the status of the door? Uh, and just
They
like
do
just
all
the
that,
whole.
and they don't overspam at the same time. So it's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
how do you not
Exactly. Yeah.
overspam?
Exactly. Yeah.
Day does this a lot.
Exactly.
Day,
Yeah.
have you seen some of? There was a long before Day was a cleric. He used to be a thief, and there's a log of him where he gets jumped by a couple darkies, and there's a fight that ensues. And I remember watching it, and I was just floored by like he it felt like he wasn't in the fight. Like it felt like it was like one of those like transcendent things where like he was outside of his body watching the fight because like the entire time he was just like people were dying around him and he was fine the entire time. He was just moving from room to room in total, calmness. And then right when the right moment came, he switched to aggro and he started killing everybody with just like he was like a piercer basically. But like I've been in those spammy fights before, and you just every screen's flying by, you can't see anything, you've seen red, you're like, I'm gonna die, I have no clue. But this guy is just
Yeah.
he's just flowing, and it's
Right.
gorgeous to watch.
It helps to have protocols, and this used to be a thing that I did when I was leading a lot. When there was a bigger player base, is hey, we're going to go into this mob. When things go wrong, when we get jumped, here's what we're going to do. I need you
Yeah.
guys to go here, get a stank up on our warrior. And then when it would happen, people wouldn't panic. They would actually just go do what you asked them to
Have a
do,
plan.
and then you end up winning the fight. Yeah, if you give people protocols or like give them something to do so they don't feel like they don't know what to do, they feel so much better fighting on your side. I feel like that's a big key if you're leading a group.
Absolutely. All right, so get into um, a question we have about balancing right now. There's been a lot of discussion about balancing spells in the Discord a whole bunch. Like everyone's upset about charm and everyone's upset about this and that. Not a lot of people talk about thieves. What do you think about the state of thieves, and how would you like to see them change a little bit? Like, what would make them more interesting? Because actually, I have seen very few thieves in Mume. I mean, I've only been back a couple weeks, but have you guys seen any?
There are BN thieves, because you guys came out with the podcast and talked about Dark Oath, and then me and everybody else wanted to go try
It's
it out.
awesome.
So
Do you like it? Do you like Dark Oath, Tim? Did you get it?
I do, but my character is not built for it, right? I have a very strange build, so I only got like 79%, but I still had fun with
Right.
it, even with that low.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't seen
But yeah,
much recently. Like, what
I haven't seen too many.
Hmm?
I think what we need to do is get more options. I think EQ options, especially, make leather viable again. Like it's decent right now. Rigid leather is pretty good, but it's hard to play with that as a thief. I feel like it's so hard. And after I played as a metal thief, trying to play a plain clothes thief without an armor spell is just painful to me. Like I get hit so hard. I'm always taking wounds. And I'm just like my strength's low now. Like it's a pain, and I feel like I'm regenning, and I hate regenning. I hate not being efficient. I like
Because you're
being
not
efficient.
playing.
So exactly. So when I'm playing a thief, quote unquote, I usually have armor spell and an attack spell, or I have bash. Like I need something else, because thief by itself just doesn't do it for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you guys have much experience
I think Pure Thief is kind of broken. Uh, Thief used to be my favorite class
really?
back when I first started playing the game. Oh yeah, one of my first legends got up to like the 40s or whatever was a thief. I actually have two legend thieves, but I stopped playing them because it was around when they broke sneak. Basically, if I remember it right, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think what's it? Eiley came back for like a week. And it's like, okay, we're going to revamp how sneak works, and it'll be we broke it, but it's okay, we'll fix it. And then he like went away, and it has, in my opinion, sort of been broken ever since. And it kind of, for the way I played Thief, it kind of destroyed my ability to enjoy the characters. So I moved on and discover
I can
another
see that. I
classes.
can see that. But I would say, I think having escape and using it is really important. It makes people make mistakes. If you're in a room with a bunch of mobs or a bunch of players and you try to escape out, you're probably going to fail and then you're going to eat a bash and that can lead to you dying. Now, most people that play a lot of Thief know this isn't a room that I can escape from. I'm going to flee, and they're usually pretty safe. But now they get the no sneak flag at least, so you have kind of a chance. Before no sneak, I played Thief, and I would watch Nazgum, like all of us, right? And like all of these guys that would do like these sneak cleaving techniques, and like
The ultimate,
that was
like
broken.
the age of heroes, the age of epic glory. Yeah.
But that was absolutely broken. Doing an MDA Venom hit from sneak and just doing like 100 HPs or something was
Yeah,
broken.
and
Sure.
getting that was like a very important nerf, the nerfing the sneak damage bonus. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's perfect now, Dent, like you're saying, like you really don't like it, but I got all the way to 100 with it. I found ways to use escape to make it even more fun, like escaping back and forth between rooms and just stabbing mobs back to back, pre-typing commands. I don't know. I think it's okay.
It really depends. So
Nazgum's in the chat. Apparently, he's all about that sneak war sword life. Just to make it better.
yeah. But well, my sort of issue was it didn't so much have to do with the PK because I didn't really PK, but the problem is that compared to players, it seems like mobs, a lot of mobs can have this insane awareness. Like you can stab them once, and then after you stab them, there's an insanely long cooldown period, which I'm guessing they're internally they have their awareness up or something. Like you walk in the room, and you just cannot stab them again. And of course, the difference is it's really strange how sneak works for mobs versus players. So it's like if you're a player and you enter in on a sneaker, you're more likely to reveal that sneaker when you first enter a room versus if a sneaker enters on you, you very likely won't see them. But it's the complete opposite with a mob. So if you're fighting a mob that follows, it's easier to escape in a direction, let the mob follow you, and then try to stab it again, because then you have a bonus and the mob has a lower awareness after moving. It's really weird. But
I actually used that technique, but I never put those together like that. Letting the guy walk into your room and then stabbing them is different from a player walking into your room. I never made that connection, but that's so true.
Yeah, won't work on players, but it's really strange they're complete opposites of each other.
And that actually kind of gets into the disconnect we were talking about last podcast with Shocker, where interacting with mobs and players, they teach you fighting styles which don't go together very well. So you're not learning very good things, very good habits by fighting mobs,
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah. But,
know what I missed from the game that they took away from me? Entering through Wolfgate and stabbing AFK orcs and Nox.
That was a bummer. That was a bummer. Yeah, that was a bummer.
Bring it back.
Because now you have to Quake.
Let me
you
run
have to
through
Quake
Nox
monitor now to get in, right?
I think either of the entrances you have to
That's
kill
gross.
in order to get by, right?
That's gross. You can still get stabbed in Bree.
I did it to somebody just the other day on my BN. Felt amazing. Guy loaded me an EMB and Stips too. Yoinks, mine now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I quite understand the reasoning there. Do you guys know what the reasoning was?
I think people got sick of dying AFK, and I don't blame them. But it was fun.
No, it was YOLO, man. It was YOLO. It was or EOLO, whatever. I think what's always sad is one player who, by the way, he's a cool guy. I'm not like
I love him. So
yeah, it's just like one player plays a lot and dominates it, and then they make a game change. They make a game change to like mitigate that, but it's a permanent change, right? Like they like decrease they decreased no track boots from 3 load to 1 load because there was like EOLO and Dong were just like camping him constantly, and it's like, okay, that mitigated the reign of terror those guys were that mitigated the reign of terror those guys were having, but now it's a permanent change, right? Like there's just only one pair of no tracks now, and now it's like they changed the Wolfgate thing, and now just nobody ever goes back in uh, uh, knock now. So it's like they make a permanent game change in response to kind of like a transient, like kind of like one-off type
And the
situation.
thing that bothered me the most about the knock change is I don't really play thieves very much. I'm really bad at them. So I was never stabbing people in knock, but something that was always just like a guaranteed shot of adrenaline was having a fight outside knock somewhere in slag or hunter or whatever. They go to like bad or awful, they go into knock, and then you chase them inside of knock to go kill them.
Yes.
Like your senses are dialed to 11. You're fighting through the mobs, you're just trying to get that last hit. It was
You're wounded, you're smiting, GG is
so,
stomping around after you. You're like, what?
and they're like trying to like, because now they know they have a chance to kill you, so they want to bait you, but that means that they're still vulnerable. Like, it was so much fun. And
So much fun.
unfortunately now that's gone. So, I think it was fun
I
for
mean,
everyone,
if you
honestly.
hoard stun pouches, you could probably get past. So
Yeah, you're right. There is a workaround, but stun pouches are worth what, like 2,000 gold? Because gold's meaningless.
I don't know if I'd waste one unless you could be sure you're gonna get the kill. So
But I've seen someone do that at Foy before. It's a Foy Giant. That is cheeky. You stun the Foy Giants to get by them to kill the guy foying. So good.
Wait, just a foy or?
Yeah, someone goes in, they get past, they like bash D both Giants and go
Uh-huh.
sip. You walk in, you stun pouch the Giants, you walk right by him, and you kill the guy when he comes back.
Wow, I would not have thought of that. That's next level.
I saw somebody do that. I was blown away. I was like, that is smart. That is cheeky.
Yeah. I, every once in a while, you like come across a tactic that you've never heard of before, even though you've been playing forever, and you're just like, I'm terrible at this game. How did I not know that?
I just learned. You learn something every day, though. That's another. MUME is so deep
Mhm.
because of how long it's been around that you can learn something even if you've been playing it like we have for years.
Absolutely. I think that's what makes it so much fun, though. Like why everyone sticks around so much.
Yeah, there's nothing like
Hmm.
it. It's an experience. You're playing an experience.
So to kind of ask you the question that we ask pretty much everyone, because it's in my opinion, the most important question right now from you is, all right. So we actually are having a kind of an influx of newbies. We are getting a bunch of them. How do we keep them? What do we do? What do we need to do here? Because Mume, I don't think it's as fun as it could be right now. Because when you've got a huge player base, Mume is incredibly fun. Incredibly fun. Right now, it's not bad. Um, but if we could get that player base, obviously things would be amazing. So how do we get there?
It's a
How do
very
we
good
not
question.
lose
I wish that
newbies?
there was an answer, like an easy answer for you. But I think the community has to be involved. You guys doing this is a big help. But if you see somebody on and they're low level, even type who knew,
Hmm.
see if there is like a newbie flag up, right? Reach out. Reach out, be like, hey, you have any questions about the game? Like, what are you going for in your character? These things will really help you. Make sure you get lock picks,
Hmm.
or make sure you learn ride, because moving around in this game is really hard. So you're going to want to ride a horse, or little things that we take for granted that are like game changers in the game. Or how do you make an alias,
Yeah.
right? Oh my
Dude, a
goodness.
lot of them don't know how to make aliases for sure.
Like, yeah, you can make an alias to ride and lead, and they're like, oh my goodness,
Hmm.
this is game changer.
Hmm. Yeah. I also think like, so Mike's been harping on this about how like strategies for getting more experienced players to group with lobies. And his approach is the TP, essentially shared XP approach. Um,
I love that. I love that so much. I feel like if you're in a group, not the leader should get a bonus. Maybe the leader gets a little bit more. Yeah, give them
mhm,
more TPs. But everybody that's in that group should get bonus TPs for grouping up together. Make it easier, make it worthwhile to group. Don't make it game changing, because if you're on by yourself and you can't group, you're like, there's no point to play the
mhm.
game because I can't even group. But make it worthwhile for people to group together. I don't know how you get people to be nicer to newbies, because a lot of people are just ignoring everybody, right? They're just playing their own game. They're going to go charm for an hour. So how do you get people to stop doing that? I don't know.
I think when you say be nice to newbies, like, I mean, that's great, but at the end of the day, you just need like hard, cold incentives, like like you get XP or you get awards or something.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm not sure what the answer is. You guys have said a lot of great stuff already, um, but how do you get them to stay? What makes them come back a second time,
Hmm.
right? I'm not sure what you add. Like how do you get them? How do you get the second click? I think it's so important.
How do you get the second click? What made
What
you?
do you guys
What
think?
made
Have you guys
you?
been thinking
What
on
do
it
you
at
remember?
all?
What your first session was like?
Yeah, oh yeah, I didn't leave. I don't think I left Harland for like the first 5 times I played, and I just XP'd on king crabs and stray cats, and I had a blast. It was great. I was like, dude, I butchered this crab and I can eat his meat. This is sweet. This is awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
the pike, right? Large pike
yep, yep,
in
yep.
Foreland. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm playing now. I'm in Middle
I
Earth.
got my ass handed to me by that large pike as a.
Yeah.
Do you know what did bring me back though? In all seriousness, I was playing with people. I was playing with friends, and they wanted to play, and I was like, sure, let's play together. Like, and that just makes the game more
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah, it's a multiplayer game.
So how do you get people to play with their friends? I don't know. Like, but that's a good start, right? You got to get people to engage.
It pro
It helps that Tim is such an approachable person too. Like he's very sort of kind and generous, and I don't think I've ever seen him become impatient with anyone, and we really need more people like that on the game. That
I do tend to rage a lot when I die, so I do have moments. I have
you
moments.
rage more
Believe
when
me.
other people die.
That's
Like I've
true.
seen
There's
you like rage.
nothing worse than
Yeah.
killing someone else. There's nothing worse than being like, hey, I just wasted 2 hours of your time. My bad. Have a good day.
Yeah,
It's just awful. It's awful to feel
when
that
you
way.
when a leader mobs you, oh my gosh, or when you're the leader and you mob
Yeah, if you're
someone,
leading,
you're like, I don't know
yeah,
what to tell you.
you're like no excuses.
Or
I'll take full responsibility. If you need me to resign from being your leader, I'll put it on your desk.
Dragon's done that a bunch of times. Oh
Yeah.
my God, Dragon is the worst because it's tough to get back in. Have you ever had those times where like your
Yeah.
group mobs in Dragon and then you go back to get it and then you mob again and you're just like, I'm out.
Yeah, you're just like I'm never playing this character
Yeah.
again.
I felt so bad because that actually happened uh with us. So we did Dragon, and our group mobbed, and then uh Tim relogged another character to try to recover our equipment. He was like, I can't recover my own, but at least I can try to recover everyone else's equipment. And then he mobs Solo in there, and it's like, oh my god, like he ate two mob deaths and Ek loss on two characters, and it was so sad.
Devastating,
Uh,
devastating days.
yeah,
But those ones make you stronger, right? It's like when I mobbed my level 100 guy in the 80s. It's just like, well, time to suck it up and keep going,
Mm.
right? Like, what are you gonna do?
oh yeah, it's God. I remember I mobbed Dent to Black Patrols at like 83. That was physically painful.
You want to hear
Miranog got me.
some Mume beef real quick? So a couple of days ago, I was I was on my Immortal and I was talking to Rogan. I was like, he's like, all right, who's the next guest for the podcast? And I'm like, Caureondil. Or how do you say him?
I say
Oh,
Coriandel. The
Caureondil.
game made up the
Oh,
name. I don't know how to say it.
Caureondil. Yeah, I was like Caureondil, and he's like who? And I'm like, what? And he's like, make sure you tell him I
I
said
just got who'd.
that.
Damn,
So he wanted you to know he said that to you. Uh,
that's funny. That's funny. I love Rogan.
yeah, Rogan's that one of those guys who just like, like I think people think he's very serious. He jokes around a ton actually. Like he loves giving people shit.
He's by far he's the person that I go to if I have a problem, and I find him by far the most
Hmm.
approachable. So definitely appreciate him.
Yeah, absolutely. Between him and honestly, our whole management team right now, I think, is in a great place.
Yeah. Same.
Um, especially with these new sub races. Oh my gosh, we got to talk about the sub races. Did you guys see the Rohirrim stuff?
Okay, so what are they doing with Rohirrim?
So here, let me pull it up real quick. Actually, let me pull it up on my phone.
I read
Isn't it
about
like
it
a
a
bonus
few
to
days ago.
ride or
It looks
something?
cool.
It's like the ultimate. It's like the you will not zablam, the mount will not refuse. It's basically your
Oh,
infinite
Plus,
ride,
you get a
basically.
bonus when using a spear. You also get a bonus
that's
when you're
dope.
mounted using it.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, they brought back charge. It's
I
now
wonder if
exactly
that
the
works
same as
with
it used to be.
two-handed spear.
That's a joke. That's not. They did not bring back charge. But no. Like those are some really cool changes. You know.
Yeah, I love seeing these
And
little
they're
changes.
fast.
The Dark Oath, like I said, brought me back. I made a new legend because of
Hmm.
that. Yeah, I mean, I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I still haven't tried that, so I'm gonna be making a BN thief pretty soon and leveling that up. And I'd love to do it with you guys, and we can whoever wants to play can hop in, whatever, but make a video series out of it because that'd be super fun. Because I want to try Dark
They
Oath.
need to they need to make a quest where you can get like one or two metal case bolts if you do something like all the way Fornost as a BN, right? Because BN is like, do you have metal case bolts and crossbow or not? It's like basically two classes. It's crossbow and then map.
That's true. That's
And
true.
there's a few ways to get, which I'm not going to give out. There's a few ways to get metal case bolts, but like they're both, I feel like uh, uh, I feel like there should be like because it's so crucial. There should be a cool quest. Like you have to go to Fornost. You have to go to uh, um, you have to like do something cool all the way, maybe even the Shire, and you get like two
Kind of like the
like
Zogs.
Tim was saying, it gives you something to do. Yeah, exactly. Like fletched or barbed arrow or whatever that is. There should be something like that for BNs where because like you just when you're playing your BN thief, you're obsessing about metal case bolts basically.
You're over there just hoarding them.
I could see that. That'd be awesome. I think just in general, give the dark side a reason to come into the Shire or past BWB. Give them a better reason to go there. Maybe I don't know what they would give them, or just unique mobs or something. But let's have some fighting over here too. Like we need the dark side to XP so that they can get jumped to, because it always
Yeah.
seems to be one dimensional
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Plus, when the dark
I
side gets
think
jumped, they win sometimes, which makes it interesting. Usually, when we get jumped on white side, we just die. No one gets a kill. We just all die. So it's not as fun.
And there's just a bunch of
I think
definitely a bunch of dark side players
correct me if
raging in the chat right now. Like, absolutely not. What are you talking about?
Showing that I'm not playing as much,
Shockers
maybe.
like just uh, having a conniption.
I think you have the staff in Grey Haven, kind of like on the mob for
Yeah,
GH2.
That's true.
But I
that is
think
a good
that's
one.
the only thing I can think of that
That's a trek
would
though.
benefit
That's not
Darkies.
Shire. That's a
Yeah,
trek.
I've also mobbed getting that staff before, so it sucks when you mob.
Yeah, for sure. I think we can all agree on that.
Those gray cloaks are just brutal. I
Yeah.
got
Those
destroyed
guys
by
are
them.
animals. Those guys are animals. Yeah.
Go into Terminator mode and
I went to the
dogpiling.
cave that's south of Road to Grey Havens, and it's like a lockable cave with these unique elf mobs, like an elf landowner and stuff. And when I left, there were 8 of them waiting for me, and I went to awful in like 5 rooms.
Have you ever had a good
It was so
Have you ever
bad.
had a good fight west of BWB as a darkie where it's like an actual
Oh
fight,
yeah,
not just a like a stab kill or something?
yeah. I have a couple logged in some legend homes around there that are latchable. Me and Christian have had some epic battles against a bunch of
Really?
people. And then another time on Zog, we went all the way to Amonathor to get EMB and Stips, and then Elistir jumped us and just destroyed our world.
That's Alistair.
But it was fun. That was a fun trip, and we have the achievement now for going into the tombs there, which is pretty unique on Zoggers.
So what, you just like killed the elf and the dwarf and
No, we went all the way to do the statues and stuff, and get the EMB and
oh
Quiver.
shit. Okay, nice. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Oh,
fun. It
you
was a
wait,
fun
you mean
trip.
Amun Othar, right? Oh, I thought you were talking about mystical for some reason.
Yeah. No, no, no,
Can
no, no.
Darnies get
Yeah,
into mystical?
yeah, they got to be able to, right? Because you
Yeah.
can kill the mobs to get
As
the
long as you've got the
rod.
glyphs.
I always kill the dwarf. He's good XP.
Dude, I'd kill the dwarf on puke too.
Yeah,
It
you got
it
me
doesn't
into
hurt
doing
your-
that. I've always killed the dwarf since.
It's quicker, and he's worth some XP. Also, the dude that leads you into thieves' mines, he's worth like 15K, and he doesn't drop you that much.
Wait, what?
Like the foreman
In
guy, you
BM?
just wait for him to walk away after he lets you in. You just kill him, yeah, and he's worth some good XP.
Tim needs to make a list of like all the mobs that you wouldn't expect give you good
Tim's
XP, but give good
moral like
XP and don't drop
grayscale
alignment
is.
too much.
It's an XP to alignment loss ratio, and if it works, then it works. I'm killing them. They're dead.
Who's Econ Mancy in the chat? He's saying that he got the eight gray cloaks waiting experience too. Who do you get? Who do you play, man?
Oh man, I feel for you. I feel for you.
Watch it be Alistair. Anyway, I'm not sure how delayed we are. We might be a couple of seconds, but go ahead, Nick.
I remember too. I think it was you, Tim, Tim and Nicole. Like the two of you were on Orc. You just like absolutely decimated me and a few other people, and it was right around Greenholm, like in that little legend home, just sort of east and south of Greenholm, with like the it's got several rooms inside of it, but
And it has like the two guards.
yeah, it has like
That was
the front room. Yeah,
that was our spot. That's where we brought people. We used it for bounders, so you could let the bounders in to get unique XP that way. Like let one in, lock the door, let one in, lock the door. Pretty cool, kind of broken, but it was interesting. And then players would find us, and then you just flee them inside and lock the door and just keep them in. And I think you guys were fleeing around a bit, but we managed to corral you. That was a really fun fight.
yeah, I remember that. There were a few of us. I mean, you were outnumbered, but like, I'm sure I was running around with, like a chicken with its head cut off. But yeah.
Well, you're not expecting it, right? You're not expecting anyone to do
Yeah,
that.
I was completely bamboozled. I'm like, what? What's this?
But yeah, I love going west, especially with a group. And if you know the proper places that have good keys, like there are a couple doors around Grey Havens that have key loads, you can make yourself decently safe from Grey Cloaks. And otherwise, it's impossible unless you can just overwhelm the Grey Cloaks and kill them. It's so hard to go west.
You know, it's an idea I was just thought of that we might. Hmm. That we should probably do. So we've had a bunch of newbies in the Discord recently, like looking for guides on how to have like a warrior, a thief, mage, all like just basics of how to play a class or a character. And all of the guides are from like 2003, basically. Um,
They're all at least 20 years old.
exactly.
Yeah, we should
What if
rewrite those
what if we
for
started
sure.
rewriting some guides? I think we could totally do
Dude,
that.
you know what we should do? We got to track down Gray and
Yeah.
get him on the podcast.
Oh my
Hey, man.
god,
That's what we got to do. He's probably,
that
I
would
mean,
be amazing.
he probably in a
We need
retirement
you
home in
back.
Russia or something now. But he's, yeah. I'd be like, dude, you might not remember this game at all, but your legacy.
It's like when the CIA knocks out one of its former operatives, You're called to arms
The
again.
website's back up. Everyone's going there. Melon.
The Black Hawk lands.
I think another one which would be interesting to have would be Azazello / Voland, who he there's a lot of
Have
stuff.
the Russians get the Russians on.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff on Gray's website.
We end up getting in jail. Somehow we violate the sanctions. But
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. I played, that crew. It's Woland, it's Vip, and then who's the other guy? Right?
Stolb.
Yeah, Stolb. Yeah, I randomly I have a Kolbosh Janesh on trophy on one. Like I randomly got lucky and got a kill there. But those guys are super fast, like crazy.
So fast.
Fast. I remember this is like I think before I even had my first legend. Like you guys probably weren't even born. Ancient days. And I had like some shitty elf, which I prayed Lorien, and this was before Anduin opened, so Lorien was just completely off on its own. So I'm just killing tawny bears all day.
That was awful, man. And then they added Anduin, and it was so good.
I know, yeah. And so one day I'm at Boulder, and I see Orc tracks in, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I narrate this, and somebody's like, stay right there, I'll be there in a second. and it's I can't remember the character. It's like Meklo or Melko. Basically, it was one of Vip's pukes. He had, I don't know, some like a dwarf combo or something. So the guy's like, I'll be right there. He appears there instantly, and he's like, okay. And then so the orcs flee out. One of them runs into Moria, and then he's just like, okay, battle plans. We're gonna chase this orc through Moria, and then we'll circle back on the other one in approximately 12 minutes. And I'd never been in Moria before. I had no idea what was going on. But I'm just like along for the ride. So we chase the orc into Moria. I'd never been in Moria before, and it's like we're ping ponging Eastgate mobs. He's like, go west west, go west west south, go west north. Okay, go all west. Like he's ping ponging the Eastgate patrols. He's tracking the orc and flawlessly directing my sorry ass through. We kill the orc in Moria somehow, and then he's like, don't even waste time. Like, didn't even type examine corpse. He's like, okay, the second orc. So we spam back. Like it's just this level of just blind and I'm sure through my kind of like nostalgic noob recollection, it was maybe a little different in actuality, but I just like again, it was like some like hyper speed. In Requiem for a Dream, the montage where they shoot up heroin and the eyes dilate or whatever. It was like that. It was the 1990 text-based multi-user dungeon equivalent of the Requiem for a Dream heroin injection montage. It was just zoom, 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 zoom.
Heroin mute.
It was incredible. But.
You know who kind of plays like that nowadays? Reich. Whenever Reich's on, when you play with that guy, it is always just like chaos. You have no clue what you're doing. Like I'm not gonna say it's always like the smoothest, but my God, it's like if you want adrenaline, go for it.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter which side I'm on. If that guy's on, I know I'm gonna have fun, and I know I'm probably gonna get him killed, and I'm gonna apologize for it, but he's probably gonna die, and I'm sorry. And I know. And if you do hear this, I'm sorry I killed you so many times, but I appreciate it.
No, but he will chase after things at breakneck speed. The moment Mike, when you said that he didn't even examine corpse, that's something Reich would do. Where it's just like, yeah, just okay, he's dead. I don't give a crap about whatever's left. Like we're going on to the next one. Hyper focused.
Just pure bloodlust.
Chase people.
Just bloodlust in the eyes.
You chase people into Brog. No tracks, nothing. Just like they went to Brog, I'm in. Like straight to Brog room. No scouting, just straight in. And you're like, okay, wow. And like
first step, break the door. Second step, go in. Third step, figure
opposite,
it out.
He's the opposite of Elistair. Where like Elistair's amazing when you group with him at like micromanaging his group mates. He just assumes you're an idiot and tells you how to do everything. Where
that's how I learned the game, though. I learned from following him and him doing that for
me.
Like, that helps so much.
He knows how to guide his group mates very well. Reich's the exact opposite, though, where like he won't tell you anything. He'll just spam you into Brog, and you're like, okay, well, I hope I know what to do.
Yeah, and then after you all die, I mean, I'm not saying this about Reich or anything. I'm just saying like what happens is after like similar group leaders after you all die, and people are like, you should have blocked right there. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like I had no idea what was happening. He's like. Yeah, he's like, if you'd gone for the bash right then, we could have had him. It's like, what are you talking about, dude?
And that's again where if you had voice comms, that's fixed right there. It's like, hey, bash. Because communication in PK is really hard to type it all, to type it really fast too. Especially if you're the one leading and tracking, it's difficult. So if you have people that are inexperienced, PK is just like infinitely more difficult because they don't really know what to do.
And then that's kind of that's like that and free rent are like our recurring themes on the pod, which is that the game doesn't incentivize. There's zero game incentive for teaching folks mobs or for teaching folks PK. There's zero incentive. It's only risk. There's zero upside.
Yeah, I mean, like best case scenario, it's just slower than normal. Like everything goes great, but it's slower than you usually do it. And it's like, all right, that's cool, but I wish we could go faster, and you don't want to do that every single time, right? So sometimes you exclude people, and then you feel bad. Feels bad.
It does feel bad. Feels bad, man. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Tim, right now, if you had a new Padawan, if you were going to be sensei, and someone was like, I want to learn PK, and I want to have fun, right? So I want to optimize PK skill and having fun. Right now, August 2022, what would you tell? What would be your kung fu movie training montage where they're like carrying water up the steps and chopping, like kicking a tree 1,000 times? What would you tell them to do?
I would say exactly that. Kick the tree 1,000 times. Like, figure out the character that you want to learn how to PK with. Is it a battle cleric? Is it a regular cleric? Is it a mage? I think warrior is the easiest, and it helps you with, like we were talking about the heartbeat earlier, learning hit timing. Just know that you're going to die. Go find logs of people that play warriors or the class that you like. Go to the top 5 log posters. Go find characters that are like yours and figure out like how they won the fight, right? Like read it and try to apply it to your play style. Like, hey, if I bash someone behind this door, I can flee out, go back in, pick the door shut, and now we're in a 1v1 to the death. Let's go. Like maybe that's your play style. Maybe you learn a block technique. Maybe you go through like a tunnel, but you block the exit and it's a one-way there, and then you get them to follow you and you trap them. Just learn little tricks to give you an advantage, but be ready to die a lot because a lot of people have played for a long time and they're all very good.
Yeah. Yes. There's been we got some old players on here.
Question about. So I've known some. I had a question about your timing of the MUME heartbeat. So are you doing that internally?
Yes.
Or so you do? Because I have known players. I don't know like how they could even manage the spam, but I have known players that they play with spam mode off, so they can actually see all the failed hits. So that way they can see like if there's a lapse in the opponent trying to hit you, that means they're bashing.
So before I knew that spam mode existed, I played with that. So I would see every single hit. And I do think that helps instill this inside of my brain of like these little counts that I'll do like 1, 2, go. Or like 1, go, depending on like what I'm doing. And I think a lot of that did come from seeing missed hits and stuff and understanding where the battle's going. And now it's just internalized and I don't need to see that anymore. But I do think that helps
when you're teaching a newbie nowadays to PK, you got to like have them like sit there like playing on the computer with like a metronome next to it, just like they're playing the piano or something.
Yeah, I also wonder about like client setups, right? Like I type a lot of my stuff. I don't use a lot of hotkeys, but I'm sure if people shared their really good hotkey settings with new players, that might help them because it's a lot of typing.
Yeah, even just like a primitive targeting system in the game.
A targeting system, I think, is you can actually build.
Yeah.
So, which is not hard.
You can build one.
Right now, if you want to do that, it's just like alias 1K elk. And then you just one.
And
I actually do that. I've done that before.
Right. Yeah.
I remember.
So yeah, I think that would help.
I remember back when Jim was alive, like he pretty much played exclusively from the numpad. He had his hotkey set up the way he liked it, and he had just everything set up just on the numpad, and his function keys, and he could just sort of zoop around, and it definitely looked like it was very efficient for him. I'm sure it took him a while to figure out what the most optimal setup for that was, but
wasn't it like.
I heard the same thing from like Gelmir. He used the numpad to move around and to hit and stuff, and the F keys for spells. And that sounds very, very, very awesome. And you'd save a lot of time. I can't do that yet. Maybe if I practice.
I heard a rumor that Woland, or is it Voland? I forget. That he had like it
would be Voland.
Super alien setup where like he would like use the arrow keys to like move around and stuff with his right hand, but his left hand he would like literally type with it. Like he would like type full commands just using his left hand alone, which is weird.
Incredible.
But I'm not.
I love that though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like his movement speed must have been so fast, but I don't know how that's like really impressive.
I hate to be American about it. I think because when I spend time in Europe and I would log on and play, there's like a different. You can tell you're like, oh, this is different. Like I think
you're such an American.
I think when you're playing with like a minimum like 150, 200 millisecond link overhead, there's just a certain like you type, you have to wait, like your brain. There's like this. It's asynchronous between what your fingers do and when the response comes and you think, right? Whereas, man, when I was like in Amsterdam or something playing MUME, it's so fast. It feels very, very different. I mean, those guys are all amazing, but still.
But secretly, Americans, we need this link excuse. If we ever were the ones advantage, and we still got destroyed, oh my god, it would be bad. It would be bad. Yeah,
You're not wrong though. That's a problem. You're not wrong. It's just you said the quiet part out loud.
If we win, it's despite it of the link. If we lose, it's because of the link.
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got to be wrapping up here pretty soon, unfortunately. But before we go, we're gonna need hot takes from everyone. Something controversial that you think about the game.
Yeah, and my hot takes are always like they should add 5 PB to Battle Axe, and then these guys' hot takes is like we should completely overhaul the character in racing.
Yeah.
So there's like an imbalance as to the ambition of our hot takes, but I'm gonna try to be a little bit more ambitious.
I'm gonna go the latter one on this. I've been playing a lot of Valorant, and I want to bring Valorant style abilities to the game, specifically area of effect, like leaving a Molotov behind you or leaving a poison pile behind you to hinder your enemy, or doing a stun that just stuns someone's movement for a few rooms, or I don't know, having like an ultimate ability, or I don't know, just I would love to see like crazy changes like that. I'm sure they're really hard and maybe not possible, but I love to steal ideas from other games that are popular.
Yeah, no, I think there's actually a lot of possibility and opportunity there. Like, you could say Bash is just done, but like, yeah, stuff that like keeps you like in a 3x3 room or something like that. You know?
Imagine, yeah, you're in a 3x3 room as a thief, but you throw your poison vial south, so anyone that flees south has a chance of like eating poison
Hmm.
or something.
No, it's
I don't know, just something crazy.
I like it. I like it. We'll go bother Rogan about it.
Anyway,
My
that's fine.
hot take, I think, one thing I've noticed about Mume is they pretty much only make permanent changes. It's like this is it, done, right? And they may be like in a couple cases where things have been imbalanced or there's been like a very critical problem with it, a very critical oversight. They go back and fix it. But by and large, they do not make experimental or speculative changes out in the open. And I think it's like it's been 30 years. The player base is small, and we're all getting on in years. Like, why not just code something and say for a week we're going to try, or for 2 week period we're going to try out this, right? And I think something like a snare, like it's a delayed command. You build a snare like a herb lore thing. It's a delayed command to set it up, and then if someone rides or walks into it, they're stuck temporarily. Just
Takes
like
out their horse.
little stuff like that. You'd be like, we're just going to try it for 2 weeks. That's it. We're just going to see how the community, and then let people like play around with it and give feedback. I think it like without having to commit to it. Like we're not committing to a permanent, altering of the power balance of the game. It's just we're just going to try it, right?
And that's what most.
What about having like a test meme that's just permanent?
See, I don't know if we have enough.
You would love
we don't have
that.
enough players.
Oh my
for that.
god, Nick would be in his element.
I don't know if we have enough players for that.
Yeah, I would love that.
Nick would just live in the test server. We did when they had them. We just lived there. We lived there for a while.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was like I think it was earlier this year. Whatever. It's like they had the test server up for a day or whatever, and I was like, hey, we should log, and we logged. We just two-man to BBT, got all the glow swords.
It was a blast.
It's like, oh, we'll just sleep in the open here in Moors. We'll go to DGD. We'll just no caution or anything.
And then they noticed us and they were like, all right, get the hell off the server. I'm closing
Yeah,
it.
Dan kicked us off.
All right. What's your hot take, Nick?
I would say it kind of, I mean, maybe goes along a bit with what Mike was saying. I think that we should maybe have an attitude change in terms of, rather than the knee-jerk reaction to something that's perceived as an imbalance, rather than having the knee-jerk reaction to let's nerf it, which seems to have been the trend for the last 10 years, why not instead have the reaction of this is an opportunity, let's create more mechanics in the game to nullify this perceived
more
imbalance.
mechanics.
So for example, I hate Morgul Blade because I would primarily play Puke, but I don't think it should have been nerfed. I would have rather them have more items or herb lores to nullify the effects or to delay the effects. If it was overpowered, that's the route I would have
Could
gone.
not agree with you more.
Same with Charmies. It's like, well, rather than saying, oh, it's terrible because everyone has 2 Mother Eagles. Okay, well, have an item that's a consumable, a disposable item, just like we carry around rocks. Have an item that you have to go to an area to get that has a chance of uncharming your opponent's charmies.
Ooh.
Can you imagine, like, if they put that in a zone, that would drive so much traffic, Like,
Totally.
that would be my approach. Don't nerf things,
I like
because
that a lot.
every time they nerf something, they're destroying part of the game that what makes it fun to play, and they're just turning it more and more bland. So that's what I would
Agreed.
do.
And also, to kind of your guys' point earlier, Hudanique, I think that's his name, said in chat that a kind of a live experimental beta version of MUME could actually bring a lot of old players back, because they would want to experiment with the new stuff. Because a lot of them leave because they figured everything out. It's all stale. Like, they've got it locked.
Right.
Having a new, like, yeah, this is a different MUME that you're not used to, and we're just trying things out. That would actually, that makes a lot of sense. That a lot of people would be excited. I would want to play it.
Absolutely, I would come.
It's like Dark Oath. That's been the coolest thing
Mhm.
about the podcast for me, is just because we kind of bullshit around Dark Oath. Many people try, like at least 5 or maybe like significantly more tried it out, which is just fun. I'm just like, oh, okay,
Agreed.
cool.
Agreed.
Um,
My hot take is.
What is-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you what your hot take
Oh yeah,
was.
all right. Well, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength here. My hot take
Yeah.
is more newbie focused, which is that, so we've had incredible success with Gandalf. Newbies love Gandalf, the little new intro, basically. Um, there's a lot. I remember when I first started playing, I wanted to be an orc, and I understand that the evil races are supposed to be harder and more difficult. But I think there should be an evil version of Gandalf. I think that you should be able to be. Sure, it's way more difficult on the dark side. Not going to change that, but I think that new players should be allowed to make an orc, and you know, not be like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? I think it'll be fun.
I think
Who
I
would be
like that a
the
lot too, because if people don't like wanting, like maybe they don't like being an elf, maybe they're more into like the bloodthirsty play style,
Exactly.
right? And you could just RP it. You could role play that so well with just a guy, a mob, an NPC.
Absolutely.
So do you think like the Witch King of Angmar, or who do you think would be the equivalent to Gandalf on
You could
both sides?
eat.
maybe the leader of the
Yeah,
Nazgul.
or
maybe.
you could be like pulled out of the mud.
The
You
Witch
know how
King.
like they like to
Witch
make the
King.
orcs in Two Towers. You could like be pulled out of the mud, and they
Oh
shove
man,
swords into your hands.
Saruman. There you go. Saruman can do it. Yeah. He's like, I need you to go fuck some shit up for me.
And you're like
Oh,
stamped
he
with a.
reveals himself on dark
That
side.
would be pretty dope. Anyway, all right. Well, yeah, I think that wraps it up for us. Thanks again, everyone, for coming, and especially Tim for joining in. Really appreciate you
Absolute legend, Tim. Absolute
gracing
legend.
us with.
thanks for having me on, guys. What you guys doing this podcast has actually made me come back and play, and I'm sure other people as
Oh
well.
my gosh!
So I appreciate the initiative, and I'm happy to support you guys. So thanks for having
Love
me.
it.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone got a sign out or no? All right.
I think Mike's the designated sign out.
Mike,
It's too much
just gotta
pressure,
hit some
man.
something, man.
Too much
Just
pressure.
anything.
All right. That's been WMUM Mume Talk. Sending you off. Good night.
Perfect. And we're done.